everybody, welcome to my channel. My name is Sharon and this is a channel that is dedicated to all things related to narcissism. In today's video, I have another episode to add to my Crazy Narcissistic Ex series. This time it involves his parents, so Crazy Narcissistic Ex in-law edition. However, before I get into the video, there's a few things I want to talk about. First thing is that I mentioned last week that hopefully I was going to have my better half Joe on today's video. Now, unfortunately, even though we did try to work on a video over the weekend, we worked on a video for several hours on Saturday, we didn't finish it. We were going to do it yesterday, but Joe wasn't feeling well. And in fact, he's still under the weather today. So I know Joe would appreciate it. And I would too, if you could say a prayer for him. If you guys are prayer warriors, that would be fantastic. The second thing is that this week, I mentioned last week that I was going to start bringing you into my divorce proceedings in real time. So I'm actually waiting till the end of August, the very beginning of September at the latest, to let my ex know that I'm going to go ahead with the divorce. The reason for this is because I have a big house full of stuff and I really need to get as much done as I can before I tell him, because he is under the impression, and this is not from me, just in his own delusions, that we're getting back together. So when I file for divorce, he is not going to take it well. He's going to cut me off financially. That's going to be a real problem. So I'm preparing for that now. I need a little time to prepare for that. I need to clean up the house, but I need to tell my kids. I am absolutely dreading this. I don't want to tell them. They're not going to take it well. It's going to devastate them on top of everything else that they've been dealing with. I really, really am afraid to tell them, particularly my son. He is not going to take it well. He's 15. He has, of the three of us, my daughter, myself, and him, he's taken it the worst. And it's not because he was particularly close to his father. I'm not sure why. I don't know if it's partly his personality, his age, or his gender, maybe because now suddenly he's the man of the house and he has to do a lot of things that he didn't have to do before. I don't know, but he doesn't take it well. He's not the same boy. I know he's depressed. He spends a lot of time in his room, and I'm trying to help him, I'm trying to do things for him, I'm trying to get him out of his shell, but the reality is this is where he is. And to tell him this, it's going to devastate him. I can't even imagine how bad it's going to be. I'm afraid. So I'll let you know on Friday how that goes. So if any of you, again, are prayer warriors, could you please pray for my son, my daughter too, but particularly my son, because I know this is going to be a really bad week for him. It makes me sick. And then thirdly, the last thing that I want to talk about is that I want to thank everybody who has been so kind to me. When I mentioned this last week, so many of you sent me emails or replied in the comments or sent me well wishes, prayers. I am so grateful for this type of support. When I started a YouTube channel, I never expected that in a million years. I didn't expect that through YouTube I would make friends. Through YouTube I would find my future husband. I mean, really, it's crazy. I never in a million years expected this. It's been the most shocking turn of events. So I'm so grateful. I really want you all to know that. I can't do anything other than tell you that I'm grateful, but truly, every single comment, all of you, I'm incredibly touched. So I just want you all to know that it really, really means a lot to me. So I'm going to go ahead and get into today's video. So in today's video, I'm going to be talking about something that happened over the weekend. It's actually kind of amazing to me that these things keep happening, because I've actually only seen my ex one time this year, but I guess narcissism is just the gift that keeps on giving. And the thing about narcissism as well is that it tends to run in families. It's not isolated. I mean, it could be, but generally, this type of thing does run in families. My ex and I both have a brother. They're both narcissists. Our fathers are both narcissists. Our mothers are codependent. My ex, of course, is a narcissist. I am a former codependent. And I feel incredibly, incredibly blessed and lucky that I am not codependent anymore, that I was saved by God. There was divine intervention. I stopped being codependent in 2016. That was fantastic for me personally. However, at the same time, it did cause a lot of mayhem because it didn't go over well with the rest of the family. And certainly it didn't go over with my ex. It led directly to us getting divorced. He will not accept it. Nobody will accept it. My role in the family, and this is what happens when you're in these narcissistic families, you have a role. My role is to be the doormat. My role is to let my husband abuse me. My role is to let everybody abuse me. I'm supposed to just lay down and let people walk all over me. It doesn't matter how I feel. It doesn't matter what I want. And I know a lot of you can relate to that. This is what happens. My ex has been unbelievable. He has physically assaulted me. He has financially abused me. He's financially abused our children. He's emotionally devastated me. He's emotionally devastated our children. He has caused unbelievable problems in our family. Just, it's incredible the things that he's done. It's like a bomb went off in our family, and I'm supposed to be okay with this. The whole family expects me to live with this person, to have him back to the house. It doesn't matter that he threatened people with a loaded gun. That it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I'm supposed to just be okay with it. I'm not okay with it. I will never be okay with it. I will never put up with it. The rest of the family cannot tolerate that. So now I am hated by the family because I'm not letting my ex come home, because I am not putting up with it, because I am insisting on raising my children a different way. I have zero family support. I do have lots of fantastic friends who support me, and of course Joe and you guys as well. So I do have some support, but I do not have any family support. My kids and I essentially are on this like little island all by ourselves. You know, recently I was watching this YouTube video and I saw this lioness, and she was by herself, and all of a sudden this hyena comes and attacks her, and then a second one came and a third one, and she was doing it right. She was fighting them off, and then like, next thing you knew, there was this giant pack. There must have been 15 of them, and they completely overwhelmed her, and she was being demolished by these hyenas. Now in her case, her lioness sisters came and fought them off and saved her. But I kind of feel like that lioness, where my family are these hyenas like coming in trying to attack me, and they're overwhelming me, and it's horrible. And that, I know that's the reality for so many of us. So in today's video, I'm going to be talking about my in-laws. My in-laws, my father-in-law is very narcissistic. He's actually worse than my own father, because he is verbally abusive outside of the home. A lot of times narcissists are just this way inside the home, but outside the home everybody else thinks they're this great person. That's not how it is with my father-in-law. He is unbelievably cruel to his wife. He will tell her that she's ugly, she has a dog face, she's disgusting, she's fat, she's this, she's that, in front of anybody. He gets into fights in public. He throws stuff around in public. You know, he was at work one day and he ripped a phone out of the wall and just tossed it across the room. And he'll talk about this laughing like it's funny. It's abuse. But this is how he is. And he is very angry with me right now. I'll tell you why as the video goes on. My mother-in-law is I've always thought that there's something off with her. I don't know if, I've thought before, I'm like, geez, does she have like autism? Does she have a mild form of autism? I don't know. She won't look anybody in the eye, ever. No, I don't know. Maybe it's because she's an abused wife. I don't know. But it's very unsettling. And it's not just me, it's no one. So you're with this person and she doesn't look at you. She's not able to maintain a conversation. Like, there's something wrong. It's weird. And it's the other thing too, I brought it up to other people and they all see this. I brought it up to my ex. He doesn't notice it. He does not notice it, that I can't, his own mother doesn't look him in the eyes, and he doesn't notice this. So it's really very bizarre. So there's something off anyways. So my ex's family, my in-laws, haven't seen my kids in 2 years. They live in Florida. We live in New Hampshire, but we used to all live in Massachusetts together. They chose not to really have anything to do with us. In fact, my kids don't even call their grandfather grandpa. They call him that guy, literally. When my daughter was preschool age, my mother-in-law was babysitting her one time, and my father-in-law came over as well. She didn't know him. So when they left, she said to my mother-in-law, you can bring that guy with you next time if you want to. So they thought that was hilarious. So that's what my kids call him, that guy. So, I mean, this just gives you an idea of what type of family I come from, or, you know, what type of grandparents my kids have. So I haven't seen them in 2 years. The last time they saw their grandkids was when my ex was in a mental hospital. Now, he was in a mental hospital inadvertently because of them. 2 summers ago, my ex was giving me a silent treatment. His family was coming up from Florida, and he told them that we would see them, but he didn't tell me this. So I didn't know. Now, I found out because my mother found out and happened to mention it to me. So I did know this. My ex didn't know I knew this. So all week long, we were supposed to see them on Saturday. I was waiting for him to tell me to break the silent treatment. Typically what my ex would do, now remember, I wasn't codependent anymore, so I wasn't putting up with this. In the past, I would have, so I wasn't putting up with this now. So just keep that in mind. This is, I think, partly why he didn't do anything. But I was expecting him to try to sweet talk me, to try to buy me some plant or something and get me to go see his parents with him with the kids that Saturday. So I kept waiting all week. He refused to break the silent treatment. He just wouldn't do it. Friday came along and I thought to myself, it has to be today. It has to be, because tomorrow we're supposed to see them. What's he going to do? Well, I mean, really, I was like, what's he going to do? Go see them by himself? That would have been weird. They would have questioned him. So Friday, he never came home from work. Now, he had been doing this. He had been doing this for a while. He just wouldn't show up at home. So, but I was really surprised he did it this night. So he never came home. So eventually I went to bed. Middle of the night, my doorbell starts ringing and there's banging on the door. Please, please. So I was up in a shot. So here I am going to the door. Dogs are barking. It was a horrible situation. I have all these windows in the back of my house. All I could see was all these lights out front of the house. Ambulance, fire truck, squad cars. There's my ex being carted off to the hospital. Police are standing at my door holding a gun. Now, they weren't pointing the gun at me. It was my ex's gun. They were giving it to me. But here they are telling me that my ex was having a crisis and that they think he was suicidal. He was passed out drunk in his car. He had a loaded gun. So they were taking him off to the mental hospital. My daughter woke up. I don't know how my son didn't wake up because his bedroom is right in the front of the house, but he didn't wake up. My daughter did. She was terrified. It was a horrible experience. She has PTSD to this day from it. If she sees flashing lights, she has a panic attack. And now she recently got her license. She was driving one day not too long ago, and she told me that there was like a police car behind her with its lights on. She pulled over to the side of the road. She couldn't breathe. This all stems from that night. I mean, there's real trauma to my children because of this. There's real trauma to me. I have PTSD from it too. But my daughter, she's only 17. So it's horrible. Her father did this to her. So he decided that he was going to, I do not believe for 1 second that he was suicidal. But this was his reaction. Instead of telling me that we're supposed to see his parents the next day, he decided to do this. So I don't know what he was going to do. Somebody saw him passed out in his car with the loaded gun. If they hadn't seen him, I don't know what he was going to do. Was he going to shoot us? I don't know. I can't remember now if he had 30 or 40 bullets with him. If you're going to kill yourself, you need 1 bullet or maybe 1 clip. So he had 10 bullets, maybe then. But he had multiple clips with him. I don't know what he was going to do. I don't know what would have happened if the kids came up to the car. I have no idea. If I went up to the car, that really scares me. I don't know if this was just God divinely intervening in this and somebody saw him because he was carted off to a mental hospital. So the next day I had to call my in-laws. So I thought, well, you know what, I'll see if they want to come over still, because this was like this horrible thing. I had to tell them that their son was in a mental hospital. And then I thought maybe they'd want to see the kids. They said no, they didn't want to see the kids. They didn't come over to my house until a few days later, the day they were going to visit their son at the mental hospital. Then they decided to visit their grandkids for a few minutes on their way to the mental hospital. So this is them. They haven't seen their grandkids since. So, and I kind of went over this in one of my videos last week, or it was either last week or the week before. My mother-in-law, they decided that they want to see the kids. They're coming up. They're coming up not to visit us, to visit other people in Massachusetts. And they want to, in their words, see my kids for 1 hour. So they know that my ex doesn't live with us anymore. They know that he was in the mental hospital with the gun. They know a lot. They don't know everything, but they know a lot. They know I had to call the police on him. There's a lot of things that they know. But again, my role is to just take it and just accept it. And that's what they expect me to do. So here are these people, and they suddenly want to see my kids. So I asked my kids if they want to see them. My daughter does not. My son said that he would see them only if I was there too. But he's not super excited to see them, but he would see them, but only if I'm there. They have been so cruel and abusive towards me. They haven't asked me one time in 2 years if I'm okay, if the kids are okay. When their son was abusing me and abusing their grandkids, they actually put him up in a hotel. They paid for him to stay at a nice hotel after he was abusing his family. So I have a real problem with them, and they haven't said one word to me, not one word. So now suddenly they want to come, and at their convenience, they even named the time. They're not saying, is it possible to come up and see the kids? It's, we'd like to see the kids Tuesday or Wednesday morning at 10 o'clock. I mean, that's how they are. So there's no consideration for me. I am the codependent. That's my job. So I told my mother-in-law that that wasn't going to work out, essentially. She replied as if I didn't say that. Literally, her reply was, all right, well, we're looking forward to seeing you. We're looking forward to seeing the kids. So I didn't reply to her at that point. What was I going to say? There was nothing to say to her. She completely ignored the situation. So then over the weekend, here's my story. I know I'm 15 minutes into the video. My father-in-law gets involved. I'm going to read you an email that he thought was appropriate to send to me. Sharon, I am writing this as everything I have seen and heard is secondhand, and I want to be as factual as possible. Please respond to this by tonight or Sunday by 11 at the latest, as time is short and we all have to make plans by then. As I have heard and seen secondhand, C, I'm going to call them B and C actually, their initials. C is his wife. C has communicated with you positively several times in the past days, and for some of the items you have responded. None of this involves or is to be shared with your children, as they both have mostly stayed uninvolved, are both still young, and they should not be involved with any of this or even know about it, and we fully intend to continue keeping them uninvolved, and we hope unaware with the issues. We have only 2 grandchildren. We've been very clear in plain English, both verbally and in writing, that this does not and will not involve our son at all. It is between us. As you have decided, and the kids agreed based on the clearly biased information you offer, this surely impacts the plans we made, but this is the decision you made, and we, in effect, are to have no involvement with them. This involves our family, but in effect, we cannot see our only grandchildren and have been unceremoniously run out of the family. Basically, we have no family involvement. Now, I just have to interrupt. Yes, because of themselves, and cannot see our only grandchildren. Your decision alone. Yikes, you surely are powerful. You want us out and not involved in any way. That we get. And what they have heard comes mostly from you, surely not us. I know, because you don't ever talk to them. Included in that, and despite what we have both said and done, this is the result. Bottom line, we're cut off from both of them, by you with no say. That's enough for now. You've decided and we have to live with it. It surely seems that what you were saying, is this right? Have I misstated anything? We're smart enough to know that your opinions affect their viewpoint, and we are to sit aside and obey, again your call. Just assume we are stupid and nod yes to everything. You must know. B. Hopefully you respond by Sunday morning at the latest. If not, we can only assume all the above is true, and you have decided we are no longer part of the family. Your decision alone, and we are to live with it, per you. So this is the type of thing I'm talking about. I am the one who has been abused. My children have been abused. They have not had anything to do with us. They think that it is acceptable for their abusive son to live with us. They suddenly want to see their grandkids. They hardly ever see them. They don't call them on their birthdays. They have no involvement. And last time I saw them, like I said, their son was in a mental hospital. All this horrible things have happened. Where have they been? Nowhere. They're putting them up in a hotel. Suddenly, they want to see the kids for 1 hour. And when I say no, they send me this. This is appropriate for them to send me. That I'm the codependent. This isn't allowed. So what I did, and I felt good about this, for the first time, I actually stood up for them. For myself. I stood up for myself. I stood up for my kids. I stood up for myself. I stood up to them. I'm going to send you the email that I sent them. This is what I replied to my father-in-law. B. I don't know who you think you are to talk to me like this. I'm not your wife who's going to be talked down to and then pretend it didn't happen. No one tells me how to raise or what to say to my own children. Perhaps if you had raised yours better, none of this nightmare would be happening. If it makes you feel better to pretend I am indoctrinating my children against you, go ahead. The reality is that I'm way too busy raising 2 children who are traumatized by things your son has done. Throughout their lives, you have chosen to have minimal contact with my kids. There are consequences to that. You're not a part of their lives. We don't talk about you. They don't want to see you. I didn't say that, they did. I gave them the choice about whether or not they wanted to see you. After what they've been through, I'm not going to parade them out and have them play make-believe for the 1 hour you've chosen to set aside for them at your convenience. In 2 years, not even once have you asked how I am or how the kids are. In case you're interested, both your grandkids have PTSD due to the son you raised having no values or sense of protection for his own children. While I was inside my house listening to the police tell me they know what men like your son do to their families, you were putting them up in a hotel. You never had to comfort terrorized children who witnessed their father go crazy multiple times. You never had to calm down children who were woken up by the police in the middle of the night because their father was passed out drunk with a loaded gun. What the hell? You don't think that was a horrific experience? You seem to want to pretend it never happened. That must be nice. To this day, if your granddaughter sees flashing lights, she has a panic attack. That is your son's legacy. In case you need some help understanding things, the police do not kick people out of their house for no reason. This isn't some game. I'm the only parent and the only protection my kids have. My kids are not mind-numb robots. You reap what you sow, B. The days of me making everyone else happy at my expense are over, thank God. Perhaps the compassion C speaks of should be given to me and the kids. We didn't ask for or deserve this. That's fact. You're very concerned about what you want, but I don't have any concern for the actual victims. Do not contact me again or I will consider it harassment. So finally, codependent stood up for herself, stood up for her children. And I did get a response from him. I'll read you the response so I have the whole thing done. It was actually an okay response. Good response and well taken by us where it needs to be. It's the first we have heard of some of this, and it goes deeper than we thought. Our bad for that. Bottom line is that we won't see the kids, right or wrong, the only grandkids we have, and you have your reasons, stated much of them. Doesn't matter if they're right or not. The important thing is that you feel as you do, for which we do feel badly. Our son is as he is, and that's not us. As for how we feel, we get no time for the grandkids, and you've well stated why not. It is what it is, and what you note was never said to us like this, but explains a lot. C is more compassionate than me always has been. For what it's worth, I hear you. Hopefully we'll see the kids in the future, but that isn't today. I won't contact you again as you wish. Being my daughter-in-law doesn't much matter. Neither of us will change. You've made a decision, and we have no choice but to live by that. The reasons may be somewhat misstated, but they are what they are. We wish we could help, really, seriously. We wish we could help, but you note why we can't. Dramatic. Doesn't matter, as it is felt as it is, and anything further will come from C to you, not from me. Concern for the kids that we have. We've heard your side, and we'll leave it at that, and do wish you and the kids the best, with or without us, as we have openly noted that this is about them, not our son. So that's my little crazy narcissistic ex story today in Law Edition. I just wanted to tell people that when you are in a situation like this, it's absolutely crucial to try to stand your ground. For so many years, so many regrettable years, I didn't. I was always doing what was best for everybody else, always trying to make everybody else happy. It wasn't until I finally woke up and finally started putting my children first, myself first. I'm not saying that in a narcissistic way, but it's unacceptable to be abused by your spouse in any way, shape, or form. And when you are in a family where other people believe it is acceptable for you to be abused, these are not people that you or your kids need to be around. I'm in the process of breaking free so that my kids can be free, so that my daughter's not going to be codependent, so that my son isn't going to be narcissistic. I'm trying to start over. I'm trying to start over in a very positive way. So thank you so much for watching this video. Truly, I'm very grateful to everybody who watches my channel. If you haven't subscribed already, please consider doing so. And if all goes well, I will see you on Wednesday, hopefully with Joe. He'll be on the channel soon. If not, I will still be here with the video. And I hope everybody has a wonderful week, and I will see you all on Wednesday. God bless.